Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of T-Dog RC. Firstly, quick apology to all of my subscribers. I know the videos are a little bit sporadic at the moment, but I'm having a lot of work done at home, having an extension put on our house, and it's very time consuming, very stressful, but it's nearly done. So I am going to be starting a lot more videos soon. But I thought I'll get one out now because it's something I want to get started on, just a bit of fun really. And I'm going to get my wing out basically. So this is it. I've had this for a little while. It's Z84 wing Z84 by Zeta models, and I thought we'll do a quick unboxing and assembly because it should be very straightforward to assemble. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Okay, so if you follow the channel, then you will know that I've recently purchased a Radiomaster Zorro. I've also got myself a rather natty Radiomaster case for it as well. But I've not actually got any models on this yet. I've got a couple of FPV planes that I want to convert over to this. But before I do that, I thought I would just start by having a bit of fun, getting this Z84 set up and make this the first model on my Radiomaster Zorro, so I can test that and also have a good rip around with this. Heard a lot of good things about these. They're a lot of fun. It was very cheap to buy, although like everything now the prices have gone through the roof for most things, but I've actually had this for about a year. It's just been stored in my loft. I've actually got two in fact. This one I'm going to be setting up as a standard one, but then I've also bought another one to set up as like a stupidly fast one with a custom motor and all that sort of stuff. But we'll cut our teeth on this one. So this is the green one, and this is the stock PNP version. I'm not going to make it FPV or anything like that, certainly not for now anyway. I'm not going to bother putting a flight controller in it and all that sort of stuff. I literally just want to throw some servos in it, chuck a receiver in. I might put a stabiliser in there just so it's not going to get knocked around by the wind with it being a fairly small model. Get it on the Zorro and have some fun with it basically, and if it crashes, it crashes. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it. And then once I've done this, coming up on the channel, I've got a lot of balsa stuff I want to get stuck into. I've actually got some kits, not just ARTF like the one behind me, the PC6, which by the way, if you haven't seen my maiden video, have a look at that. Flies absolutely superb. Yeah, so I've got some proper balsa kits as well to get stuck into, which is I'm going to be doing quite a few videos on those. But before we get stuck into all that serious stuff, let's check this out and see how this goes. So I'll stick the camera up onto my mount and we'll take a look and see what we've got in the box. Right, let's have a look what we've got in the box then. It's a little bit battered, but hopefully everything inside should be okay. I've not actually looked inside this, even though I've had it for so long. Let's see what we've got. So first out is a bag of accessories, which we'll have a look in that in detail in a second. The main body. Everything's wrapped in these little foam pockets, so that's good. Seen a few. I imagine this is going to come off very quickly, this black stuff, but not to worry. But that seems all pretty good there. A couple of little dings there, but nothing major. Like I say, this is a real sort of chuck around model. I'm absolutely not too fussed whether this gets a bit battered and stuff. So that's the body, and then hopefully we've got a couple of wings. Oops, which we have. Let's take a look at one of these. Nice tiny little wings. Ailerons pre-cut there. Obviously with these things always flex the hinges to make sure they're not too stiff, which is fine. Hole for the servo there. I guess there'll be a spar to go in there. Nice and simple. Nice sort of up curve on the wingtip there. And I think there is a slight bit of reflex built into this already, but we'll probably need to add a bit more. And then we've got the two little fins just for stabilisation that kind of go in the middle. These give it quite a distinctive look, I think, because a lot of wings tend to have tips at the end, whereas the wings got them kind of in the middle. And then we've got some decals, nice and bright green, quite like those ones. I prefer these to the red actually. Not sure what sort of condition they'll be in, but hopefully they'll be okay. They're sort of stuck together there. Then we've got our little carbon spar, very thin indeed, but should do the job nicely. Another little bag of bits. So in here we have got the motor mount and some control linkages and some control horns. That's all good, and some Velcro for the battery. And there is an instruction manual. So, always nice to see. Let's just have a quick look at this. Should be very, very straightforward, basically. Lots of warnings, gives you some specs here. So it comes with a 2900 kV brushless outrunner, 10 amp ESC, two 9-gram servos. You just need to add, obviously, receiver and batteries and that sort of stuff. Now, one of the other things I like about this, which I didn't actually realise, is that this takes the little excuse me, this is actually 1000 milliamp, but I've got loads of 1300 milliamp batteries like this, 3S, and it actually takes those. So that's good, because they're just so easy to transport, and they're really quick to charge and everything. So I quite like those batteries. So that's another reason why I wanted to just have a crack at this. So what we got first, getting the wings on. So gluing the wings on, putting the spar in, gluing the servos in. I'll probably use some hot glue to put the servos in, and then setting up the motor mount, gluing the little motor cover on, putting the fins on. Not quite. Oh, that's the canopy catch which locks onto the carbon spar, and then it's just a case of putting your prop on. Actually shows one of these slow fly props on here with the little prop keeper rubber band, but I'm pretty sure that that's an older version, and the newer version that should come with this is a proper nut, etc. And that's it really, so it shouldn't take us very long to get built up, so let's get cracking with it, I say. Oh, let's just have a look at that bag of accessories, see what we've got. So I should have everything that I need here, which is cool. I got this from Banggood, by the way. Like I say, though, it was about a year ago. So yeah, there is the ESC, and that is, it doesn't actually, oh, it's a 40 amp. I was going to say, when I read in the instructions that it was a 10 amp, I did think that that's not very powerful, but I guess that's because they have since changed the motor, etc., for a much more powerful setup. So yeah, 40 amp ESC, which is good. Couple of Tower Pro little plastic geared servos, 9-gram servos. They're not, you know, they're about as cheap as you can get, but they'll be absolutely fine for this. Spinner, couple of props. These are, let's have a look. Here we go. 6.3 by 3.15. That's a bit of an odd measurement, but there we go. That's what they are. And then we've got a little motor. So actually this might be different potentially than what it says. So it's a 2450 kV motor. It's a 2212. So yeah, nice little thing there, and obviously the motor mount. So yeah, let's get building. So I'm going to do things slightly different to the manual. So it says to glue the wings together and everything first, but I find it easier to actually put the servos in first, because then you're only dealing with one wing as opposed to the whole model. So first job is going to be I'm going to hot glue these servos in position. So let's get my glue gun fired up. And let's check which way round these go. So they're going to go that way like that, so the cable can fit down there rather nicely like that. So we just need to get one of the servo arms on, so I'll get that done. And I'm going to want to centre the servo as well, so I'll just use my always handy servo tester. Can't live without one of these. And we'll just set that to neutral as usual. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. It's already neutral. Let's just double check that. Yep, okay. So, little posi drive. And let's get... The good thing is about these Tower Pros is you always get one of these where it's a single arm, which is probably the most common one you're going to use. But sometimes you only get one of these, and obviously you have to cut one off, but not in this case, so that's good. One thing I'm just going to quickly check though is whether the control links go through. I suspect they don't, and I suspect I'm just going to have to drill it out quickly. Yeah, there's no chance that's going to go through there, so just get my little pin vise drill. Let's have a look. That's probably going to be just perfect, I think. So let's just get this and drill that out. That should be fine. Let's check that. Oh, look at that. Absolutely perfect. There's no play in that either, so spot on. Right, let's get that put on then. It's going to be that one. Okay, and then we'll get the hot glue in there, and that'll be that done. The servos are these, sorry, the control horns are the sort of ratchet ones. Where have they gone? They're in here. Often have sort of mixed results with these things, but we'll give them a go for now. You can always put a little bit of hot glue on the other end once that's secured in place. So it just goes through like that, and then you get this, works a bit like a cable tie, and just sort of snap it on like that. But I do often find that these can come undone, so yeah, I'll just put a little dab of hot glue on there, just basically to stop that from lifting off. Right, let's see if this is ready. Plenty in there, don't want it coming out. Push it down. And then, let's get that out of the way. Let's just put a little dab on this. if we can. Not the neatest, but it'll do the job. Problem with hot glue is you always get this stringy stuff everywhere, but that should be okay there. And then, as you can see, I've got some on here, but the good thing is it does sort of just peel off. Same on there, so you can clean it up quite easily, really. So that's that on there, and then obviously control horn through there. Let's just have a look where we are with this. That's actually not bad, because I probably want to put a little bit of reflex on there anyway, so I think we'll go with that as it is. I'll probably just put a little bit of silicone tube on that as well, just to secure it a bit later on. So there we are, a working Aileron. Cool, right, let's do the other one. Okay, so second servo's in on both the wings, so that's all fine. So next job is to glue the spar in place and then glue the wings on. So first thing is to get the spar glued in place. I've put a mark, you probably won't see it on the camera, just with a Sharpie there, where that wants to go. So we'll get that glued in, then we'll get the wings glued in. Now my preferred glue for this sort of thing is usually always foam tack. I really like this stuff for working with foam models. Okay, the end was a little bit blocked. I've unblocked that now, so let's get some gear in here. What you've got to watch with foam tack is it's like a delayed reaction. You squeeze it and it carries on coming out for about 2 minutes or so. So, well, maybe not that long, but you kind of have to stop squeezing way before you're done with it. But anyway, we'll see how we go with that. Still coming out. I'm not squeezing it, but no harm done. The more the merrier with this stuff sometimes. It is a contact adhesive, so we'll put this in. Try and not get it too soaked, and then we'll get it in. I'll twizzle it round a bit, get it all over the carbon spar. Maybe what I should have done, thinking about it, is roughen up that spar a bit, but it's a bit late now. Okay, and then I'll just pull the spar away from the foam and just leave that now to go off for a few minutes, and then I shall stick it in place. Okay, that's more or less in position, and it's going off. It's not completely set, but it will do fairly soon. So next job is to get the wings on. So we want to get the foam tack all along here in that section there, and then a little bit in the spar section here. Just get this cable out of the way. I like the smell of foam tack as well. I probably shouldn't say that, but it reminds me of when I was little and I used to make Airfix models. It's got the same smell to it. I don't recommend that anyone smells it though, of course. Okay, get the lid on quick before it all comes flying out. It just does not stop. And then what we're going to do, as you've probably seen before, is slide that in, get the two sides together, and then just keep sort of pulling them away, pushing them together, pulling them away, so you get all these sort of nice stringy bits. Do that a couple of times, then leave it. Probably going to have to take that out as well. and then obviously you leave it to go off for a few minutes, and then you put it together for one final time. So again, we'll give that a couple of minutes, and then when you come back it should be stuck together. Okay, that's stuck on there quite nicely, and it does grab sort of pretty well once you've left it for those few minutes to dry. It does grab fairly quickly, so I'll get the other one done and then I'll be back. Alright, well, we've got ourselves a little wing coming together. So next job is to sort the motor mount out. Now there is a top and a bottom to this, and it's quite nicely, let's see if you can see that there, come on, there we go, come on. They've angled it, so you can see on the little mounts there that they've angled down for some downforce, so you need to make sure you get that the right way around, but it's quite cool that they've done that. One thing I am just going to do is I'm just going to roughen this up as well, because this has just got to be glued in. So top and bottom, just rough it up with a bit of sandpaper so the glue sticks a bit better. And then we'll do the same actually just on the foam as well. And then there's also the underside of this. Yeah, I definitely predict the black paint on this foam to last precisely 2 minutes. That's actually slightly broken, but it should be fine once we've glued it in position. Right, and before I actually stick that in place, it does say to get the motor attached first, so we'll get that done. Okay, so I'm just going to mount the motor straight on. Shouldn't need to use the mount. The annoying thing is the wires for the motor won't go through the mount, because this is quite solid, this piece here, and I don't want to bend it because it feels like it's going to break. So it kind of means I've got to have the cable sticking out like that, but they will be under the little foam piece, so hopefully that'll be fine. So if we get the screws out, and probably what I'll do as well is just use a little bit of red Loctite, sorry, blue Loctite on these, so it's not a permanent. The other thing I'll do as well is just use a bit of blue Loctite on these just to secure them in place, but it's not an absolutely rock solid. It's not, you know, not the complete thread locker stuff that you can't get off again. So just put a dab of that on. Now this is always tricky. Right, okay, so the screws that you get in the motor bag aren't actually the screws that you use, so they've included some other screws, or bolts should I say, whatever the correct term is. They're bolts really, aren't they? And these are longer, but they've also got a built-in washer, which is quite nice, so they're definitely the ones to use. So get a bit of Loctite on this one. You do have to be a bit careful with Loctite actually, because it can sometimes eat away at the plastic. That's just one thing to bear in mind, so you have got to watch that you don't get it all over the mount. I mean, it is pretty thick, but it's just something to be aware of. And for that reason, I probably won't Loctite the other two, just in case. It's a bit of a catch-22 really, because the problem is there's a heck of a lot of vibration going on, so if you don't Loctite them, they are obviously prone to coming out, but then you don't want the motor mount to fall to bits either. Okay, I think that's got that, and as you can see, it has got quite a bit of down thrust on there, which is good actually. You know, it's good to see, because often you find that manufacturers sometimes forget to do that, and some wings will just climb like crazy, and it's difficult to get them trimmed out. Excuse my fingers, they're covered in foam tack, which is why they look a little grubby. Right, so now we've got that on there, I guess we just need to get this mounted. So let's just test fit first. There is a little notch in the foam for the motor mount to go into. It's just awkward with the cables from the motor, but anyway, that's in. So I think I'm going to use foam tack again for this. I've roughed this up as you saw, so that should be fine like that. Okay, let's go for it then. Okay guys, bit messy, but that's got that initially tacked on, so now we'll just pull it apart, leave it for a few minutes, and then glue it into position. But yeah, bit of a messy one that. I said earlier that foam tack the smell reminds me of when I was little and I used to do airfix kits. Well, that kind of looks like one of my airfix kits from when I was little, covered in glue. But anyway, we don't want it to come off, do we? Feels pretty solid. As I say, I would have liked to have got the motor cables through the motor mount, and I'm pretty sure that's what you meant to do, but it just felt like you were going to break that connector, so I think that's kind of causing a bit of a problem with the way this is fitted in there, but that seems fine. So now we can get the top on, and that should sort of lock it into place. Alright guys, that's stuck into place. It is a bit Mickey Mouse, but it should hold it into position. I mean, what can you expect for whatever this costs? It was about £50 or something like that, the PNP version. But that should do fine. So, probably next job I think is to get these little fins glued on, and then we're done with all the gluing, and then we've just got to get the ESC set up, which is a fairly easy job obviously, and then you've got this little thing which glues on the bottom of the canopy, so it locks onto that spar there. So I'll get these fins glued on. I won't bother filming that because obviously it's pretty straightforward. Foam tack in there, glue them in. I'll get this little catch glued onto the canopy, and then I'll be right back. Alright then, so fair bit's happened since the last clip. It all came together pretty quickly really, to be honest. So I put the decals on. They actually went on really nicely, because if you've watched my other channels you know that I don't like putting these things on, but these actually went on really well. I've ironed just the tips just to keep them down. I don't know whether that will help or not, because it probably is a bit of an old model. I should think it's been stuck in a warehouse for quite a long time, and it's certainly been in my loft for at least a year. But we'll see. But I think they look quite nice. They do. I've not put any of the name or anything like that. You do get some more decals or stickers in the box, but I've just put these main sort of bands on, and this down here, which I think makes it look quite nice. Got it all hooked up to the Zorro, so first time using this. There's actually a Delta preset in this out the box, so I just use that, and I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can just about. I've renamed it Z84, put myself 4 minutes on the clock. Very stupidly, I have got this hooked up to my LiPo with the prop on the bench, which is highly not recommended. But I've set a throttle safety switch on my on the Zorro on the transmitter, so if I do knock the throttle, it won't come on. But don't recommend doing that. Normally, you would keep the prop off. Yeah, it's all set up out of the box. The only thing I had to do was reverse one of the servos, and it's always a telltale sign with a delta or a flying wing if you sort of do the ailerons and they both look like they're going in the same direction, so almost like an elevator input like that, then basically you know one of the servos is reversed. So I just went into the menu of this and reversed that particular servo. Talking of the servos, one of them was making a very loud noise. They are very cheap plastic geared 9-gram servos, so you can't expect too much. I went with it for a little bit, but even just testing it on the bench, it failed basically, and the one of the Ailerons got stuck in one position, and I thought I don't want to risk that. It did sort itself out, but I didn't fancy it, so I've ripped that servo out and put in another one. I had another spare Tower Pro. In fact, I just need to pull the band over that. I'll do that now before I forget. I'll just put some silicone fuel tube to stop these from coming off. So I just had to pull that out. I'd obviously hot glued it in and stick a new one back in, which I'd got lying around. And would you believe it, this one is also really noisy. So all that noise is just coming from this one, and it's pretty much the same as the other one, the noise, but it does seem to be working okay, so we'll go with it. I'm not that fussed. If it crashes, it crashes. I've put in one of my old FreeSky D8 receivers, again just a really old one that I got lying around. One thing I will say for sure about this is there's hardly any room in here at all, so it does look a bit messy. I've crumpled all the wires up here, speed controller and receiver stuck into place there, and then battery right at the front. This is with a 1.3 1300 milliamp 3S. So I don't know how people, I have seen plenty of videos on YouTube where people have turned these into little FPV wings, but it must be so tight. You must have to cut loads of foam out around here to get all your gear in. Yeah, so struggled a bit with that. The other thing I've found is that it was still sort of fairly tail heavy even with the battery in. It does have some marks on the bottom for the CG. Pretty sure they're the marks. Anyway, looking at the instructions, it looks like they're bang in the right position. So what I've done is I've cut a slot into the nose here and just put some extra weight in there. I think it's about 20 grams or something like that. Can't quite remember. Perhaps just under 20 grams. I've just stuck that in there, and again, it doesn't look brilliant, but it's on the bottom. And like I said, I'm not really bothered how this thing looks. It's only a little bit of fun. It's more than anything just so I can test the how the Zorro transmitter goes. But these do rip around quite nicely, and they are a lot of fun. So we'll give it a go. Let me just get this LiPo unplugged, because it does make me a little bit nervous, even though I've got that throttle cut on. So hope you've enjoyed that quick unboxing and build of this Wing Z84 from Zeta. If you have enjoyed that and you aren't a current subscriber, then please help me out by clicking the subscribe button. It's completely free of charge, and if you're into fixed wing RC, doesn't matter whether that's foam, wings, EDFs, bolster, whatever, I fly all that sort of stuff on my channel and build all these sorts of things as well. So if that floats your boat, then as I say, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up as well if you've enjoyed the video. That helps me out. Stick any comments in below the video and I'll always respond to you, and a massive thanks to all my current subscribers as well. Really appreciate your support, and I'll hopefully see you soon for the maiden of this thing. Oh, just one last thing. I did say I was going to try and put a little stabilizer in, but there's no room, so we'll just go with it as it is. And in terms of the setup on here, I've dialed in. I've got no dual rates, so I've got full movement. but I've dialed in about 40% expo, so quite a lot of expo, but hopefully with full movement, you know, that should be okay. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, look out for the maiden video, hit the bell to be alerted of that as well, and thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you soon for the next one.